One for the cameraman.
Yeah. Oh, it's out of this world. Like,
Pretty nice,
like you feel your face buzzing from it, like when you're drinking it, you know.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome to the Bullaun Ark in Bullaun, near Loughrea in Galway. We're a regenerative biodynamic farm. We specialize in growing vegetables, edible flowers, and fine herbs for restaurants all around Galway and the west of Ireland. So I used to live in Galway and in a place called Well Park, and I had a small garden out the back where I used to have an aquaponics system and a 5 metre by 3 metre greenhouse.
Cool.
We had tilapia, we had basil. We actually sold basil to Cava way back then, and yeah, that kind of expanded my interest, expanded the realization that people wanted to have really good food. And that expanded me to do aquaponics in Dublin, which led me to buying the land here then, with the intention of originally doing aquaponics. But then I discovered regenerative farming, no-dig, and really bringing back some of our ancient farming practices, especially our Irish ones, which led me then to more of a, I suppose, an overall regenerative approach to the land. And then I discovered biodynamics a couple of years ago, which has become a real big thing in wine, which is now becoming a bigger thing in vegetables, which is just learning to farm in a more holistic way, always working within the cycles of nature and even astrology. So, for example, we would plant seeds when the moon is rising, and we would plant plants out generally when the moon is falling. So it's basic kind of, you know, yeah, that's it. Well, nature grows it for us. We just have to work in alignment with it, and it'll give us the best quality we could hope for.
When you say like the no-dig garden and the no-dig growing, like
I suppose the best way to paraphrase it is no plow. Okay, so at no point do we plow up our land. We're never trying to invert our soil layers. We're trying to respect the soil mycology. I mean, if we go back in time, Paris is a good study. So Paris was a city that was a market garden city, and that farmed vegetables within the city. 25% of Paris used to be market gardens, and they depended on the horse manure from around the city. So the horse manure would be collected every day and brought to the market gardens, which were evenly distributed throughout the city in these walled gardens, and then be applied to land. So I mean, I suppose one of the big principles in no-dig is we never mix in. So when I apply the manure, I'd only put it as a layer on top, mimicking the way things would fall on top of the soil in nature.
Like leaves of
exactly.
trees.
Yeah, when we have the leaves fall from nature, they never get mixed in by anything other than insects, which will pull them down, eat them, and then deposit them as a natural fertilizer. Like, so no-dig, we're really just speeding up the process that could happen naturally through, let's say, letting the weeds and various grasses and things in the field grow, and then chop and drop. So it should be like a mulching mower that would come along, turn that up into mulch, which then becomes soil. If you do that for like 4 or 5 years, you're going to produce an excellent soil if you have the right species balance, you know? But we can do that much quicker by applying that organic material with no-dig, which is really mimicking forest floor, by the way. Because remember, in Ireland we had such rich oak forests here, especially this area. This was all oaks back in time.
They say you could walk from Galway to Dublin without like
not touching the ground.
From not touching the ground, from oak tree to oak tree. You know?
Exactly. And so what happens with those big trees? They bring up minerals from deep in the soil. They bring it up into the tree, and they drop the leaves. So thereby mulching the forest floor. Which, if you're ever in a good old growth forest, it's very spongy. The soil. It's almost bouncy. You know. So again, we're trying to always focus on getting air, nutrients, the exchange, the circulation and movement between the soil and the surface. You know. And the deeper water underneath. You know. One of the interesting things, for example, people don't think about the cycle of water in the soil itself, but water lifts up out of the soil in the morning and goes back down in the evening time. So understanding this, we can actually decide to dry or moisten our soil by what time we even apply the mulch. They knew exactly what they were doing in the old times. They had no reliance on imports because they couldn't import their food. So of course the power of any land or chieftain was the ability to feed his people. And this is what made it so important then on how the food you could produce and how the actual calorific content and the mineral content especially. You know, because over a long time you'd see problems with your people if you didn't have the right minerals in it, you know. I've been very fortunate to work with you in Blackthorn and the Pins in Barna for the last 6 years. I mean, it's working with restaurants like yourselves. It gives us the opportunity to have gardens like this around Ireland and to appreciate what we're doing to a finer level, you know.
It's really nice, to have you, one, so close, two, so passionate, and just the range of stuff that comes into us. I'm always stunned by the flowers, especially because they're so colourful, different sizes, shapes, always seeing something new. And we break upstairs, we get Monday, Tuesday off, and on Wednesday we're back to work. You know, nobody really likes coming back to work, but when you show up with your delivery, it brings a whole kind of buzz to the whole team, and we get really excited, and it's also fresh and colorsome, and it's just great seeing it come in the door. You just don't see that from any other supplier, you know. There's just...
Oh, thank you, Richard.
It's just, it's special, like, if you know what I mean. It's like, it's very...
this is what biodynamics does. It brings that extra, like, happiness to the plant, you know?
Yeah.
So I know...
And you can taste it. You can actually really taste it.
Umami. This is umami.
Yeah.
So they talk about in Hinduism too, a praha energy of food, I think it's called. I'm trying to get away from, like, people often think of like the perfect garden as the most productive. And this is absolutely a mistake, because often the action of the plants and the weeds that are growing with our vegetables are providing a job in themselves. Like, for example, if you look beside you, you can see these fat hen are keeping the soil being dried out from between the corn. But they're not obstructing the corn, because the corn can go higher than the fat hen. Okay, so to talk about what I wanted to do in Bullaun was really to bring back as much diversity to the plate as possible, especially around herbs and vegetables, because we're pinned in this idea that we can only eat this or eat that, or, you know, when there's so many flavors, textures, and experiences to be had, that we could literally eat something different every day and never repeat for the year. You know, even here in Ireland, where we think we're quite limited, we have 1,000-year horticulture here. That's it goes back a very long time. One of the interesting things I've noticed from the Druid castles around Ireland is that the slit windows seem to all have astronomical alignments to the, like, for example, the spring or fall equinoxes and such, which is a way of measuring the solar properties for their own biodynamic calendar. So that was quite surprising, you know. Then to see that they clearly knew this information so far back, you know. So what I really wanted to do here is to have a really rich biodiversity, and rather than trying to go, I'm going to grow this, we decided to see what would grow well here and work within that.
Yeah. Well, it seems that everything's kind of growing well out here. So.
Oh no, there's plenty of stuff, you know.
Fair place, yeah. And definitely, like, you know, variety is the spice of life. So
exactly.
More power to you. The more stuff you can grow and get people more interested, and maybe even challenge chefs a bit more as to, you know, hey, I've got this week, this another week, you know, what are you going to do with it? It's a nice challenge. It's a nice, for creativity, it's nice, you know.
This greenhouse was the first one. We actually put this up before I was ever considering being a working market garden, which this is the classroom area. So I was originally setting this up to teach aquaponics in Ireland, but then COVID kind of changed the plans, and we decided to open the garden instead. It's been very much a work on progress. So every year we add a bit more land, we improve the soil more. Again, the whole thing is regenerative. So our main criteria is things will get better every year. And so that's why every year it's a work in progress, you know.
You're never finished, so it's...
never finished, not for a lifetime.
Always chasing that carrot.
Exactly, you know.